don't knowingly bring an ant log to your sawmill deck. Yeah, exactly. Well, this ought to be a joy. I don't know what's going on with this log, but looks like there's some biological activity involved. We got some ants, we got some mice, we got all kinds of shake, got a little mold. This one is going to be a biohazard. All righty. Obvious signs of mice. Looks like Carpenter ants have gotten in there. A little bit of rot. So let's talk nasty bugs and mice and stuff. Because for all of you guys that know me, there's really nothing that causes more aggravation when you're sawing than bugs and mice. Mice dropping out on the floor and running to your pants leg, and ants, carpenter ants, stuff like that, really are a mess. And yeah, I mean, they'll get down in the debris around the bottom of the sawmill, and they will live for weeks, if not months, if they can get the moisture. And then they do bite. Trust me on that. They're kind of like a colony with no queen, so they seem to get extra aggravated. So one thing you'll notice is that I try to clean up a lot. I'm going to clean it up here shortly. It's that time. And for all the folks that ask me, what do I think about my concrete floor? I have to say, I love it. It does a couple of things that I really like. Yes, the sawmill does like to walk a little bit, but depending on how I load it, I can load the logs, I can minimize that generally. And if it ever just gets out of hand, I just get the excavator, grab it right about here and just pull it over right here on the sawmill frame. You're not going to bend a Wood-Mizer sawmill frame. I can tell you a story about that one day that'll curl your hair. Bugs in your sawmill are two things that do not go together. Carpenter ants are bugs that I really don't tolerate when I'm sawing. I would always try to saw the carpenter ant log at the end of the session, just like I'm doing now, because if they started boiling out of there like, you know, an invasion force, I could finish the log up, I could stop, but I would never really want to do that on a log in the middle of the run because, man, you're sawing, you don't want to have anything interrupt you. So just as I was saying, this is a Kentucky coffee tree log. For those of you who guessed, good job. It was a carpenter ant infested log, so I held it to the very end. So if they did get loose, guess what? I could stop at the end and clean the mess up. This one has a mouse nest in it, made it double trouble. When you have a log that has suspected critters in it, and it's a log that you want to saw up, like Kentucky coffee tree, there is some value to the log, even if I get a few boards off. The way to try to drive them out is start a little bonfire, like in my burn pit, and I rolled this log over into the smoke and a little bit of the heat with the idea of, by the time I got to it, I'd smoked them out. I've smoked the mice out, maybe. I've smoked the carpenter ants, maybe. And all I had to do was build a little fire in the pit, move them to the pit. Obviously, I didn't burn the log. That would kind of defeat the purpose. I got the log maybe a little warm at best, but certainly it got some smoke in it. Most insects, animals, they just don't like smoke. So while I was sawing up all the other logs, I let this one do its thing. It's now the last log on this batch. And we're going to see if I was successful or not. I think I was, because I'm not seeing any mice or ants crawl out of it. I didn't have to use an insecticide. And hopefully this is going to be a non-event. And if it is a non-event, then put that in your little Hobby Hardwood Tricks notebook. Don't knowingly bring an ant log to your sawmill deck. If you've ever done it, it's horrible. I mean, they're going to get everywhere. They're going to crawl up your leg. You're going to be spraying them. You're going to be stomping them. You're going to get bit. Best thing is, try to smoke them out while the log is still in your log yard. So let's find out if it worked or not. I'm pretty sure it did, because I'm not seeing anybody. But you never know until you start sawing into it. When I'm sawing up an ant log, I have found out that I'm going to always try to get to the ant area last. If there are ants in there, as I'm sawing through here and maybe there and there, I'm not going to really get into them. You may see one or two coming out, but they're not just going to boil out. But once I put the saw blade in this area, they're coming out. In Alabama, not only do we have ants that live in logs, we have scorpions. They love those spots. Scorpions we have are pretty small. They're pretty mean though, little gray looking scorpion. They'll bite you in a heartbeat, and they'll sting you even faster. Martha got hit before. Her arm, she got hit in the hand one time. It swelled up for about a week. So that's another thing you really want to do. You really want to watch for, at least in the South United States, is not just worry about the ants or the spiders. The scorpions are bad, and of course any wasps are bad. And speaking of that, I've got a treat for you when we get done sawing this log. We're going to clean up our carpenter bee traps. That'd be kind of cool. But anyway, I could have had this log sawn 3 times by now. I'm just sitting here yakking, and I'm going to be as interested as anybody to see if we got rid of all our critters. So let's crank this thing up. Let's put the old saw blade in the log, and let's see what comes out of it. Unfortunately, when I'm sawing a log like this, I'm more interested in getting wood with no holes in it. So my normal stressful sawing pattern goes away. It's kind of a salvage thing. I mean, I can tell that the stress is going to go that way and that way. So these boards are actually going to kind of twist a little bit, but I'm sawing these for live edge. You just kind of forget some of that other stuff and just freestyle these and try to get the most wood possible. And putting that down at about the 6 o'clock position is probably about where it needs to be for me to get the most wood. I did not go deep enough on that cut. So far, so good. I'm going to take this opportunity real quick and stop. And I get asked this a lot, about parallel bark sawing or sawing parallel to the pith. Generally, when you're sawing high-grade logs, especially slabs or lumber, you want to saw parallel to the bark on that face, which makes it difficult if you do parallel bark sawing on all 4 faces, because you generate a trapezoid, which slows you down. So you typically, I'm not going to do that. I will saw parallel bark to the prevailing face of the highest quality face. And generally what that does is it crosses the least number of growth rings, so you have a flatter board. And in this case, you can see that just me eyeballing it that quick, I was able to raise that toe board just a little bit, just because I kind of do this every day. And sure enough, I've got almost a perfectly parallel face, which means even though I'm doing a lot of things to ignore the stress on this log, simply because I'm trying to deal with this big old cavity, I'm still following basic sawmill rules for high-grade lumber. Certainly the good news is I'm not seeing anything coming out. So maybe the smoke them out trick did it. We'll call it the Cheech and Chong, the hobby hardwood Cheech and Chong technique. Smoke them out. There is some stress though. Yeehaw! So I just stopped during the cut. Yeah, there's some stress here. Typically, I would be trying not to have that happen. I mean, that's 2 fingers worth of stress. So this is a good example of I'm having to make compromises on sawing technique to get the most boards. By the same token, these are live edge slabs, so I can cut them down to 4-footers, or I can run them through my machines and try to reduce that curvature, that bow that's going to happen. Or I may be able to handle it simply by just taking it out in the kiln. I don't know. So even though I did get a parallel bark sawn geometry with that first cut, the stress is still there. So I don't know if it helped or it hurt or if it was useless, but at least I feel better knowing that I at least gave it a try. Now the next board further in should have less stress. It shouldn't be that bad. And if you're wondering where the band is, I'm about 6 inches from the end of the log. So this is peeling up like a carrot peel, and that's what I call them, carrot peels. And let's see how the next one does. Yeah, that's a lot better. Probably, I mean, my guess is that's probably 10% maybe of what the other one was. I'm gonna pull these guys off. I'm gonna get half a live edge bark on these. Wasn't happy with that cut. Adjust my toe board. Take another. That looks a lot better. Still no bugs. I think smoking them out works. A little bit of stress. And so I was able to recover almost this whole board. However far the cavity's going, it looks like it's going at least 1/3 of the way in there. I can see this discoloration right to here. That tells me it's rotted to this point, but because I was able to orient that board, that log, I'm going to get a lot of wood off this. Now I'm going to rotate. I'm going to get that side. And we'll just see what happens after that. And yeah, these boards are going to have a little bit of a bow to them, but it's better than just wasting them. Rotate it over. So the cavity's going in there a certain distance. I'm assuming it's 3 foot. And I may salvage a good bit of wood from this log. You never know. I mean, it doesn't look bad, like I say. So let's just see what we got. But again, I'm basically stripping all the good lumber off first, and I'm attacking this very last. It's amazing how close you can get to them with the saw blade before they finally hit the panic button. Yeah, I said that's about how far it went up. And there's one little ant. Dadgummit. There's always one. Where'd he go? I think I just crushed him. There's some ants. See what I was saying? It's not until you get right on them that they start to come out. So this ain't bad. I'd say I killed most of the colony, or at least drove them out. But because of that, I'm still just going to discard these guys, because big old pile of hantavirus on this one. See that big old mouse nest? And the cool thing is, the route is, I didn't actually have to touch that. So it's gone. There's some more ants, but not a lot of them. And they seem to be, hello big man, having a bad day? They seem to be kind of messed up. Maybe the smoke got to them and they just got a little lost. There's some kind of thing, and look, there's an ant. Woohoo! I hate ants. Pretty much hate bugs in general. And instead of having me have 1,000 ants on this table crawling around to bother me, I got one. I don't think any hit the ground. Today is the day when it's just cold enough to keep these stupid carpenter bees from flying into our traps. And they should have died last night. I'm going to empty them, and we're going to reset them. And we have a lot of them. We got 8 of them. And they fill up. I mean, they fill up. Carpenter bees are horrendous pests. You can see where they bore right into the wood right there. And what's even worse is when they get in the wood, then the dadgum woodpeckers will find them and literally destroy whatever boards those. I mean, look at these. This is woodpecker damage right here. I mean, I'm not saying that they weren't in there. I'm just saying, look at those holes they dig. These bugs kind of swarm during the spring, April, May. Well, this one filled up where the cone is actually jammed full. We'll get some close-ups here in a minute, because we're going to empty these before it warms up and these things get to flying. Done. Let's get another one. This one is full. I mean, it is full. One more to go. That's nasty. What? There.
This one beetle one bee that's alive.
Oh.
Crawling all over the dead one.
Yeah, well, that was why we wanted to do it when it's so cold. And they're freezing. They're not going to fly out. Well, except for that one that just tried to. Look at that. These are carpenter bees. These are not like honey bees. This is an invasive species. They're starting to move. I don't want them coming back to life and reinfesting. So, best way to kill bees, a little bit of Dawn, a little bit of water. The soap suffocates them. the ones that are still alive. So now what we're going to do is we're going to grind them up, put them in some cornmeal. We're going to have bee cakes later on this afternoon. Put them on the grill. Man, those are good. You know, kind of make patties out of them. They're going to be good. Y'all come on, have you some. We'll probably have plenty for everybody. Nothing like a good old bee cake. Tastes like sawdust. Yummy. What do you think, Chip? We had a long day, didn't we? I think he's ready to take a nap. He's pretty tired looking. He's enjoying this weather. And we will see you guys next week. Y'all have a good one. Ooh, gesundheit, Chip. Thanks for visiting our sawmill. Click on the links above to see more of our videos.